Welcome to the Aging Boomers. I'm your host, Frank Sampson. Of course, on our show, we discuss so many of the issues facing boomers, their parents, and what, of course, is an aging population today, which I'm smack in the middle of. So I want to remind everybody that today's show is sponsored by Senior Care Authority, a senior placement and elder care consulting organization that has a national network of professionally trained and experienced local advisors to assist families. They'll work with you in determining the right path for you or your loved one and discuss various long-term care options, whether it's in-home care, assisted living, memory care, or if you just need an advocate just to get some advice from. You could certainly talk to a Senior Care Authority advisor in your area by going to the website at www.seniorcareauthority.com or call direct at 888-809-1231. And again, I want to thank everybody for just all their support. Our list is just growing every single day, and it's because of all of you. I know many of you, I would say probably most of you are listening right on our app, on the Aging Boomers app, which you can get for free on your iPhone or Android phone. So certainly tell your friends and family about it. You can also listen to it on iTunes, on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Stitcher, or you could go directly to our website at theagingboomers.com. So thank you for all that. So I'm really excited about today's guest. I'm always excited about our guests, but this is kind of near and dear to my heart. Some of you may know that I was in the travel industry for many, many years before starting up Senior Care Authority and also the podcast, The Aging Boomers. So we have somebody on our show that has taken her years of experience in the travel industry and has really applied it to an area that in helping seniors and their travel. I guess in their travel. I mean, she actually takes them on trips, and it's wonderful what she does. Kathy, I should ask you, Kathy, your last name is pronounced Shoaf, is that right?
It is. It
okay.
is, yes.
All right, so Kathy Shoaf is a
Shoaf.
travel expert with 20-plus years of clinical and management experience in geriatric, rehabilitation, and neurology as an RN and ATP, which is an adaptive technology professional. Her passion is founded in overcoming challenges such as mobility deficits, memory issues, pain, and the simple reality of walking more slowly. Kathy is uniquely qualified to understand travel challenges and create rational solutions. Her passion is to deliver safe, fun adventures that can be multi-generational or single experiences. So, Kathy, thank you so much for joining us on the Aging Boomers. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Frank. I really am so happy for the opportunity.
Yeah, so, Kathy, you have specialty cruises. That's the bulk of what you do, or maybe it's all of what you do. We'll hear more, but you have specialty cruises for those with dementia, diabetes, and seniors who just maybe need a little more support when traveling. It's just a wonderful opportunity, especially for folks that would have difficulty in traveling themselves. So getting the support is great. I mean, tell us how you got started with this, with these types of travel groups. What was the catalyst?
The catalyst was my nursing experience, my life as a registered nurse, where I spent 20 plus years dealing with senior housing and home health and the reality of life with the clients and with their families. Frank, all I did was put out fires. I ran from one situation to another, and all I did was create a plausible plug in a negative fountain. I decided I wanted so badly to give all of my clients the opportunity to still enjoy life. And so I started consulting as a registered nurse with an agency and started creating travel experiences for clients that needed mobility assist. And then about 5 years ago, I decided I wanted to do this full time. This is my passion. This is what I love. The opportunities that I have had to see people actually enjoy experiences, opportunities, has made all of the hard work worth every second of what I do.
I mean, I think it's tremendous what you do. So, I mean, I did take a peek at your website, which we could certainly tell people how they can get to it now, and we'll repeat it again. It's Elite Cruises and Vacations Travel.com. Is that right, Kathy?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to it, again, knowing that I was in the industry for many years. And I think it's great. And you have, again, a lot of these specialty cruises. I guess, my question now being in the senior care industry, and I've been in this now for quite a bit of time, giving away my age. I've been in both for quite a while now, travel and this. Is there maybe a type of an individual that maybe would not be a good fit for one of your cruise groups? Just to maybe is the level of care just too great? At what point do you say, hey, that's kind of the cutoff point?
Well, the sincere answer is there is no cutoff point, but we have to be able to provide accommodations and care as each person is going to need. We genuinely just went to Bermuda with several clients that were requiring a hospital bed and a Hoyer lift along with a Group 3 power wheelchair on that ship in order to make that happen. Now, all the equipment was delivered to the ship. It was the equipment functioned perfectly, but the whole cruise worked because that particular client had an RN and a nurse's aide caring for him and his wife for that cruise. And in order to make that work, the level of support was required. So there is no limit, but most of my clients require some mobility assist. They may require a little bit of assistance with dressing or bathing. And we try to do a very thorough job of interviewing each client to determine how we can provide the care and what's going to be required before we ever leave the United States of America.
Yeah, I mean, when you said a Hoyer lift, and I'm going to have you, for purposes of some of our listeners certainly know what a Hoyer lift is, but I'm sure many do not. And, and my dealings, I mean, sometimes we find licensed assisted living facilities that wouldn't even handle a Hoyer lift. All right, why don't you explain what a Hoyer lift is?
The gentleman is a quadriplegic. He does not have usable function of any of his limbs. He is an advanced stage MS, multiple sclerosis patient. So the Hoyer lift is used to literally lift him from his complex power wheelchair over to the electric hospital bed, and then thus back again in the morning. He is a very tall gentleman. He probably weighs 240 pounds. He has to be lifted by a device because he has no ability to assist. So those kind of cases can and do travel. I have had MS patients. I've had ALS clients, which is a rapid deterioration of neurological function. Those kind of clients can travel with the appropriate care provided. It's a matter of understanding that we can do it, but we have to have the ability to do it before someone comes.
All right. So you mentioned an RN, that might be accompanying the traveler, the senior traveler. So is it your staff, or not necessarily employees, but I mean, are you getting the people to come depending upon the needs of those that are going to be on that particular cruise? Are they providing, they meaning the senior providing their own staff that comes, or is it a combination of?
It's a combination of. It wholly depends on the preference of that family. I have had families travel with their own caregivers. I have a network of home health agencies and or RNs that I personally work with throughout the country. So it depends on each family's choice. We will set it up however the family is comfortable. I have worked with senior living, independent assisted living conglomerates that send their own home health aides and or RN to take care of their population. So many families have their own live-in caregivers already, and they just travel with them. This particular family did not have caregivers that wished to travel with them, and so I set up an RN that I travel with frequently, and she worked for them privately for that week.
So I guess it kind of depends on the level of care, but would these caregivers that you bring in possibly be in the actual cabin with that senior traveler, or it just depends on the level of care that's needed?
The level of care that's needed. It is possible to have a suite, and then a caregiver could be in there with them. I have had that happen on several occasions. In this particular situation, the husband and wife were able to stay in the cabin alone at night, and the caregivers had access to the cabin so that they could be of assistance if they needed them at any time.
So again, I'm sure it depends too, but give us a range of kind of how many travelers are going on a particular cruise with you. So, I mean, are there 10? Are there 50? Is it kind of depend, or do you kind of keep it to a certain amount in order to be managed properly?
We have had dementia-friendly cruises with a client in each family group or each cabin with dementia or some form of Alzheimer's or some sort of memory loss. And we've had 110 clients in a group on a ship.
Wow, that's fantastic.
We always include some sort of a conference, education, senior Zumba. I also include respite opportunities for the caregivers. So part of our programming includes at least 2 hours a day of respite care so that the caregiver can just go. And if that means go read a book, it might mean go to the spa, go sit in the hot tub, go lean over the edge of the ship and look for whales. But for 2 hours, we've got this covered. And we're going to play games. We're going to play all sorts of activities that give them that chance. So the numbers would range between possibly 25 to 110.
That's fantastic. So, you mentioned respite, and, again, for those that may not understand what that is, it's kind of giving that family caregiver a break, right? But I would think that those that you're willing to take the senior without the family caregiver coming on the cruise, that's a tremendous respite opportunity right there.
Correct. And there are some instances where that has happened, but most generally some family member or friend or relative travels with, especially the clients that have some sort of memory loss. Mm-hmm. We've taken a few as singles, but most of them have some sort of a companion, a friend or a family member with them. Great. Many of our clients with Parkinson's, or just clients that are slow walkers, just some arthritis, possibly. Many of those people travel independently.
So you mentioned Zumba. What are some of the other social or senior-friendly, I guess, activities and social events specifically geared towards the various groups? Give us an idea of that.
We try to make each group feel like they are socially together, that they are able to get to know and learn and enjoy interaction with each other. We start off every cruise with cocktail events and private social events so that people can meet and greet. We set up evening dinner seating together as a group, and that's significantly important because many people that travel with some sort of a memory loss or mobility deficiency feel self-conscious. They feel like they don't fit in, especially in a beautiful formal dining room. So when we eat as a group, everybody in our group, everybody at our table is in the same boat, figuratively and realistically. If somebody doesn't order correctly, then the caregiver is not embarrassed because the other people at the table are in the same situation. So we try very hard to decrease that stress, decrease the emotional anxiety that would go along with just flat out leaving home. Let's enjoy the opportunities, and let's not have any judgment to go along with it if I can possibly avoid it. So dinners, we do senior Zumba activities every day, which is a very low-key exercise to some sort of dance moves from songs that were from the 30s, 40s, 50s. We create conference events that are educational, interactive, that give people pieces of information that would be genuinely helpful. And then we do provide escorted excursions off of the ship for anyone who's interested. You know, one of my staff members will go with a group of people that wish to go see the bears, for instance, in Alaska, or wish to go see Blackbeard's Castle on St. Thomas. We try to set up those groups to be somewhat casual activity and let someone be there to just answer questions, problem solve, and help make everyone more comfortable.
That's great. It's wonderful. I think what you're doing is just a wonderful thing. So are there particular conference topics? Maybe give us some examples of some of the conference topics that you discuss.
Living well with dementia, looking at the positive side instead of the negative doom and gloom side. Diabetes and a great life. Overcoming obstacles would have to do with diabetic conversations. Diet and mobility conversations. We can improve our wellness situation. I guess that goes back to my nursing world, but by increasing the positive pieces of how we choose to make decisions, then we feel better, we live longer, and we get to enjoy individual situations for a much extended period of time. I also travel with a nurse practitioner who is a professional photographer, and she presents topics that have to do with photographs and memories and creating opportunities. Her topic is always because we won't have these moments again. Whatever this moment is, it's not going to happen again. And so let's enjoy it. Let's capture it. Let's keep it so that the next moment we can still remember the good stuff that happened before.
So is there a particular cruise lines, not that you have to mention them unless you want to, but are there particular cruise lines that you work with? Because I would think that some would be a little more amenable to these types of groups, while maybe others, not that they would be against it, but maybe they're just not set up for it. Or if you found
absolutely.
That most, yeah. So tell us a little bit more about that.
No, Frank, that's a definitive question. Absolutely. I seek to work with almost extensively Holland America, and the second choice being Celebrity Cruise Line. I have been honored to be part of training many of the staff members on Holland America Cruise Line to be more senior friendly, but significantly more dementia friendly. Holland America understands that many of their current clients might have some sort of a memory loss or short-term memory issue. Whether or not they're having any conversation with Kathy is not necessarily relevant to Holland, but I have had the privilege to train many of their staff members on several of their ships. And they are very receptive, and they are very, very interested in being of service, and they do manage to complete what I need for them to do. They have in every situation that I have used them. So, I also have no problems with celebrity. They do a good job also.
Great. So I was going to ask you, so, I've been on many cruises, and I know that when I get on a cruise, it takes me a few days to kind of figure out the ship and to find my cabin. I mean, you've probably been on so many, you know every ship, but if you couple that with those that maybe have some form of dementia or cognitive issues going on, how is that? How do you staff it to try to help people even just to get back to their cabin so they're not roaming around the ship? I mean, that's just a reality, but how do you handle a situation like that?
Well, Holland America knows that I give every single person name badges because they're just part of our conference group. And on the back of their name is their cabin number. Okay. And so any staff member from Holland America knows that the cabin number is on the back of that name badge. Gotcha. And number two, I have permission from Holland to put a very cute, attention-getting, small little item on their door or on their little mailbox beside the cabin door with possibly words on it, "Welcome, Mary and Joe." And then that helps them cue into, well, my cabin's down there because I can see one of those little things in the hallway. I've only been able to keep all of our cabins in one general location one time, and that was the group that I did that was associated with a long-term care assisted living company. Every other group, each family books individually, each family chooses the cabin they want, each family chooses where they want the cabin to be, and Frank, you know as well as I, they could be from deck 3 all the way up to 12.
Right, exactly.
and they are. They're sprung all over the ship.
All right.
So the little object on the door helps immensely. And keeping their cabin number on the back of their name card, they know that number's there also, and it just constantly gives them a little cue if they need to be reminded.
So,
and I generally write cabin 1003 odd. Because then that cues them that it's odd or even side of the ship. Got it.
So what do you say to those adult children that are listening to this podcast right now who says, God, that would be a wonderful thing for my mom or dad or for my husband or wife, but I don't think they'd be able to do this. This would be just too difficult for them. What do you say to those people who are thinking that right now?
I say that I will walk them through it every step of the way. We have a group hotel the night before the cruise, and we meet each family coming into the city at that group hotel. And from that point forward, we help them find their room. We help them get back down in the morning, have breakfast, and then as a group go over to the ship. We are certainly not staffed for one-on-one attention, but I am staffed with RNs and geriatric care professionals that understand the population and are anxious to be there and be supportive. So, we create senior-friendly activities that give them the opportunity to stay interactive with our group. So, and whatever pieces of details that each family is seeking for us to watch after, we'll do our best to make sure that mom and dad are doing what each daughter would ask of me.
So, Kathy, then how do you assess a particular senior without meeting them face to face? Is there just you just talking to the family members or the senior if appropriate, and are you asking for information from a physician? I mean, what are you doing to ensure that you don't get yourself into something that maybe was not a wise decision to bring somebody aboard, or you weren't properly staffed to handle that situation? So how do you go through that assessment process?
It is honestly just verbal conversations, but the information is gleaned from as many different people as possible. So the senior himself, if possible, his spouse, his children, I do not seek or try to evaluate from a physician unless one of the family members wants to send me that information. There's so many HIPAA laws that I have to be very cautious not to cross the line of what's appropriate. And, I have to take the word of the client and or the power of attorney in that each individual situation, and be helpful and be supportive and be honest in what we can and cannot do, and then recommend what kind of additional help they might need in addition to my staff, if that's what I start to understand.
Got it. I think it's wonderful. So why don't you just share with everybody again? I know we mentioned it at the top of the show, but just how people could learn more about what you're doing and learn more about how they could have their loved one accompany you on one of these wonderful cruises. Go ahead, commercial time.
No, my direct phone line is 219-608-2002. And that is my direct business line. And I am more than happy to answer all questions, problem solve, create solutions, and help manage whatever situation's happening. In addition, our website is Elite Cruises and Vacations Travel.com. And that's cruises and vacations are both plural. Elite Cruises and Vacations Travel.com. I am available always by phone or by email message through the website, and my email is Kathy@EliteCruisesandVacations.net.
Great. Kathy, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for all you do. I mean, it is wonderful what you're doing, and I wish you all the success in the world, and hopefully we'll have you on in the future, to give us an update on how everything is going, because I really enjoyed talking to you.
I would love to, Frank. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. And I want to thank everybody out there for joining us on the Aging Boomers. Just be safe out there, and we'll talk to you all soon.